Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss, with analysis for January 21st, 2016. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES right now. In the previous market outlook, what I talked about was the development of a prominent buying tail here. This is a significant tail that shows rejection. We've seen price auction lower ever since the last couple of sessions of the previous trading year. We've seen a significant price discovery phase ever since value went offered at 2071. Price was tested each of these HVNs, and upon testing 1814, which is the bottom of the key range, also our 11 quarters, which is the HVN, and then you have 1800 here coming just shy of that 1805. I talked about in the premium trading room that this area was an area of high confluence, and I expect OTF responsive buyers to come in and defend that zone for a shot at returning price back to 1921 and 1939. So right now, I believe that this could be the impulse swing move here that sets our key range. We have a midpoint at about 1939 and change. So I believe that if bulls can continue to defend this LVN here at 1846 or as low as 1830, we could see a solid bounce back into this zone. So right now the idea is for bulls to defend the LVN, all reversals into 1846 or thereabouts, for a push higher. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you need to see price reestablish acceptance back above 1879. Doing so will open up the stops for a push back to these 1939 levels. If we look at the intraday time frame in the ES right here, again, what I mentioned was 1830 was a key level, and 1846. Rolling back to that zone, you can see how price came as low as the 1836s. So going right in that zone that I talked about where swing bulls wanted to defend in overnight trading, and so far that's played out nicely. I would say again, any reversals into 1846 or thereabouts offer an opportunity for a continuation higher. So right now the stage is set. Here's support. Any rotations into that area should still be considered defenses. Here's 1839, the bottom of 5-day value. That offers a great zone down there to defend if you're a bull, and you've already seen some of what's happened here recently. Now, if price can get through these 1872s, 5-day VPOC, the implication would be a move into the top of value 1890 with a shot to see further movement above into 1900. All right, let's take a look at crude oil. Crude oil continues to be beaten down here. Nothing really to say with regards to crude oil. Everything we said was at the beginning of the year here. This narrow range implied significant expansion. This rejection of price levels above that previous week's high implied a push to the bottom of the range with likely expansion ahead. Once we got that, we talked about pullbacks being areas to defend for a continuation lower. We've reached each of our downside targets so far, and we've had to downward adjust more targets. The next target down is going to be this 27.25. Below that, you're really getting into some significant downside zones here. So I can bring up even more targets from there. Let me just get these for you for a moment here. We'll bring that up and start to see more expansion out to bigger targets. So here's 24.35 would be a 200 percent expansion from the center of the key range, which means it's 150% expansion from the edge. So that's going to be the next significant level is 24.35, and that would represent a 150% expansion from the edge of that range. That's significant. At some point, we need to see some type of significant rejection tail off the lows, which would set a key range and likely spark a bounce back toward the midpoint of that range. Let's take a look here at the NQ right now. The NQ has seen a significant bounce here just recently. In overnight trading, what I was looking for was any pullback into 40.72. That's what I talked about yesterday afternoon in the PivotBoss closing report. This significant tail here. You see that huge tail? That implies rejection. That implies OTF responsive buying participation. We've seen a significant decline since the end of the last year, and that could be our key range. If that's our key range, we could be looking at a bounce back toward the center of that range, which puts us up toward 43.60s and beyond. And again, this rejection of price levels below this support zone right here implies that this CLVN offers a great zone for bulls to defend. We were just shy of our entry of 40.72s. There's still more time to get that over the next day or so, but we'll see how this continues to play out. I believe this is the area that needs to be defended in order to seal this low and get this thing bouncing back toward recent highs at around 43.65. From there, we'll see how this thing plays out. Looking at the intraday time frame for the NQ just briefly, again, 40.60 was an important level. Actually, if you go back to the higher time frame, this level right here was 40.72. That's the CLVN. So if we go back into the lower time frame, you can see 40.72 right here. To the left, it says CLVN. That's the area to defend. 40.60 was also a key zone. So again, this was the major area to defend. Prices came just above that into the low 40.80s. So that, again, if there's any short-term rejection of prices above the previous session's high, look for a rotation back to this zone and look for bulls to defend again for another push higher. Failure to hold above 40.60 would open up a return to recent lows at 39.83. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck and trade well.